She found herself in the body of a certain Alfred Morton, the former owner of the mansion. At that time, Alfred was a renowned artifact collector who had encountered an ancient curse that turned him into a ghost bound to the mansion. Ira realized that her only way to break free from this temporal captivity was to break the curse and allow the spirit to find peace. She set out to search for something that would help her understand the nature of the curse and save Alfred. Finally, her search bore fruit. In one of the rooms, on a dusty shelf, Ira discovered an ancient book. The book was written in an unknown language and seemingly contained information about a mysterious ritual capable of breaking the curse that bound the mansion and its former owner, Alfred Morton. Spending hours studying the book and deciphering the symbols, the girl gradually unraveled the secrets of the ritual. She learned that destroying the curse required performing the ritual at a specific moment when the energies between worlds were at their weakest. With the help of her clairvoyant abilities, Ira was able to determine the time and place where the ritual had to be conducted. She found a hidden cave beneath the mansion, where she gathered the necessary ingredients and performed the ritual, following the carefully deciphered instructions. As confirmation of the successful completion of the ritual, the mansion trembled, and a powerful energy was released, shattering the curse. Alfred Morton, freed from his captivity, disappeared, finding his eternal rest. The once malevolent-infused mansion transformed, liberated from centuries of curse. Ira, keeping the mask as a memento of her extraordinary adventure, left the mansion with a sense of satisfaction and the understanding that even in the darkest places, one can find light and hope. Years passed, and the girl developed her newly discovered talent. Soon, she found herself caught up in a whirlwind of events, making Ira a target for the horsemen. It all began with her extraordinary clairvoyant abilities, a supernatural gift that drew the attention of higher forces seeking ways to convey their message to humanity. The girl became the subject of the horsemen's investigations, as they realized that her power could be of use. They saw her potential to comprehend the truth and free them from their destructive routine. The horsemen started to pursue Ira, attempting to capture her and use her power to their advantage. Ira felt a constant threat, sensing that she was being pursued and watched. She became the victim of frightening visions, predicting the approach of the horsemen and the destruction they could bring. In this chase, Ira couldn't remain passive, and she decided to find allies in the search for the Apocalypse Key to stop the horsemen and save the world. In her visions, the medium increasingly saw the images of three other heroes, Daniel, Emily, and Nicolo, who, as it turned out, possessed unique abilities and knowledge necessary to combat the horsemen. She realized that only with their help could they find the Apocalypse Key, which could halt the horsemen and prevent the impending catastrophe. There was nothing left but to embark on a journey to find these heroes and convince them to join her mission. Young and ambitious scientist Daniel Harris dedicated himself to the betterment of society, developing cutting-edge vaccines against the terrifying diseases plaguing the world. For years, Daniel devoted himself to research and the development of innovative treatments capable of taming dangerous viruses and bacteria. His laboratory was filled with inquisitive minds and advanced technologies that allowed him to tackle the most complex medical challenges. However, one day, everything changed. The head of the laboratory came under external influence, betraying Daniel and his valuable research. He ordered the modification of the vaccines, in other words, turning the medicine into poison. This command shattered Daniel's heart. He couldn't fathom how his life-saving work could be perverted into an instrument of death. He found himself at a moral crossroads, teetering on the edge of his own ethics and principles. Daniel Harris entered the office of the laboratory's head where he had worked for many years. Tension and indignation pulsed through his veins. The head of the laboratory, Dr. Richardson, raised his eyes from the documents and looked at Daniel with surprise. "Dr. Richardson, I can't believe you betrayed our ideals and our work. How could you betray the trust and turn our vaccines into instruments of death?" "Daniel, you don't understand the bigger picture. We have the power to control the fates of millions of people. The ability to manipulate lives for the benefit of our organization." "For the benefit? Don't you realize that our research should help people, not kill them? I dedicated my life to developing vaccines to protect people from diseases, not to become a tool for your madness." "You're too naive, Daniel. The world isn't that simple. I do what is necessary for the success and prosperity of our organization. These vaccines will become our weapons, our source of power." "I refuse to be part of your game, Dr. Richardson. I will defend my research and science from your greed and corruption. I will hide them from you and fight for truth and justice. Do you think you can stand against me? I can destroy you and your reputation. No one will believe a mad scientist." "Perhaps, but I won't fight alone. I have allies, people who share my principles and strive for the truth. We won't stop until we expose your corruption and save our science from your taint." The dialogue between Daniel and Dr. Richardson reflected the clash of opposing beliefs and values. Daniel showcased his determination and resolve to uphold his principles, while Dr. Richardson demonstrated his thirst for power and ruthlessness in pursuit of the organization's success. Every word was infused with emotions and tension, and the battle between them was just beginning. Weary of soul, Daniel made the decision to reject the leadership's command and protect his principles, concealing his discoveries and research from those who deemed themselves gods, trying to use his talents for evil. He challenged his former employer, becoming a recluse and going underground to continue his work in secrecy from the world. Now, Daniel was consumed by the thought of exposing the truth about the leadership's intentions and stopping their sinister plan. The man delved into a world of confidential documents and records, akin to a secret agent infiltrating a sinister lair. His hands skillfully danced across the keyboard, deciphering encrypted files and uncovering hidden traces of corruption. Each page, each electronic document became a new brick in the foundation of his evidence. His gaze was filled with determination, and within him burned the fire of truth, driving him towards the fulfillment of a righteous act. Combining his discoveries with the feathers of professional journalists, Daniel wielded a verbal weapon capable of exposing hidden facts. Investigators met in closed rooms, exchanged information in the shadows, and revealed the terrifying truth. The printing presses clattered, transforming words into swords ready to demolish the nest of corruption. Their investigations penetrated the most secret of corners, shedding light on dark deeds, exposing lies and betrayals. Daniel and his allies approached this battle comprehensively. The virtual world also became a battlefield, where hacker attacks were launched against the system. By cracking codes, they infiltrated forbidden servers like unnoticed ghosts in the night. Networks concealed their true identities, and fiery lines of code became their weapons. Traveling through hidden channels of information, they unveiled secrets and brought them to the public's attention. Data leaks became a catalyst for change, crashing down on the villains of their wrongdoing. Secret meetings with informants resembled shadow operations. In the dim light of candles or hidden behind bustling cafes, they exchanged vital information, risking everything to expose the truth. The informant's eyes shone with fear and determination simultaneously. Their voices were whispers in the night, but their words were an explosion of truth. They supported Daniel, providing him with the building blocks from which he constructed the edifice of truth. Daniel felt like a legal gladiator stepping into the arena to deliver a battle against injustice. He filled the papers with fragments of truth, evidence of abuses and criminal actions. Every word, every phrase was a stone, powerful questions that the system had to answer. He filed complaints and appeals, knocked on the doors of justice, demanding fairness and transparency. Setting up his own hidden laboratory in a remote location, the man continued his research. He developed high-security systems and encryption to safeguard his research from unwanted access. His methods involved the use of cutting-edge technology and precision tools to study and modify vaccines. He sought allies who shared his quest for justice and contributed to unraveling this horrifying mystery. With each step forward, Daniel delved into darkness, leaving his former life behind and transforming into the shadow of himself. He was resolutely determined to confront evil and restore his research to the hands of those who could truly benefit from them, people in need of protection and treatment. A new chapter in Daniel Harris's life began, where he battled his own fears, immersed himself in the realm of the unknown, and strived to overcome the powerful forces in his fight for justice and salvation. Freed from his main job in the laboratory, the man sought to quench his thirst for knowledge. Delving into ancient manuscripts, he avidly studied forbidden rituals, seeking to grasp truths beyond human comprehension. Daniel horrifyingly discovered that his past successes had indeed been used against people. The grim death toll from the medicine spoke for itself. This fact motivated the scientist to continue at any cost, depriving him of sleep and human contact. Other scientists began to shun him, seeing him as a madman. As his research progressed, Daniel descended into an abyss of madness and despair. He spent endless nights in his isolated laboratory, surrounded by scrolls of ancient texts illuminated only by the fading light of candles. Dying lamps revealed to him dark secrets, plunging him into endless hours of oppressive study. The rustling of ancient pages, the creaking of ancient parchments filled the air with unwelcome presences and the scent of antiquity. The walls of his laboratory whispered unfamiliar languages, and shadows began to take on a living form, freely moving about the room. Daniel savored the dark sweetness of delving into the forbidden, unaware of his mind sinking into ever darker and more sinister depths. When his own reflection in the mirror began to distort and assume an unfamiliar shape, Daniel realized that he had crossed the line. He became a shadow of himself, forgetting what it meant to be human. His mind plunged into the abyss of hopelessness, and his soul became a victim of ancient forces he intended to uncover. During his search, Daniel Harris found himself on the outskirts of an abandoned cemetery where rare light penetrated through gloomy clouds. He stared intently at an ancient mortuary chapel, feeling an inexplicable attraction. His heart pounded, and the air became filled with a sinister atmosphere. Fate had brought him to this dark place for a reason. Among the graves and the dead, he heard a faint but distinct voice. A voice that emanated from inside the chapel. There was something eerie and alluring in that sound, and Daniel couldn't resist its pull. Unknowing of what to expect, Daniel entered the chapel, and inside awaited a supernatural spectacle. Standing before him was Ira Torres, fully manifesting her clairvoyant abilities. Her eyes shimmered unnaturally bright, and invisible shadows danced around her. Ira sensed Daniel's presence and turned to him as if anticipating his arrival. In her hands, candles flickered, casting ethereal reflections on the walls. She reached out to him, offering to show him why she had come. With his consent, the girl touched the scientist's temple, activating his hidden abilities and unveiling the path to their shared destiny. In that moment, a connection formed between them, something deeper than a mere chance encounter. They felt a surge of power uniting them in this world that had turned against them. Their paths intertwined, and together they had to confront the horsemen of the apocalypse and unravel the mystery hidden within the depths of time.